Going to start the movie review. So, the Lizzie McGuire movie from the year 2002, I believe, is the big screen version of the Lizzie McGuire TV show. And something interesting about this is because it got a theatrical release, and I reviewed the Even Stevens movie a little while ago, and it was direct to TV. So, I think that it's interesting. I think maybe this one was before, and they were testing the waters, and maybe it didn't do well enough, so they started putting them on Disney, just straight on the TV channel. Or maybe this movie did do well. We're going to find that out, but first things first. Let's look at the critic score, 40%. So that's not great, but for Rotten Tomatoes, I guess that's okay, but for this kind of movie, but I don't know. I think it deserves more than that. I don't think it was that bad. 49% for the audience score, so not even 50. So even the audience is shitting on this a little bit, at least for the Rotten Tomatoes page. But let's read the critics' consensus. Harmless piece of fluff that ought to satisfy fans of the TV show. I can see that point of view where it's like, this isn't going to appeal to everyone, and I didn't love this, but I thought that it is harmless enough, and it made me laugh more than I thought it would, and it's for fans of the TV show. It's not a great movie, but round up on projects surrounding 14-year-old girls. It's not too bad. I didn't hate this. It's getting above 5 for me at least, but how much above 5? We'll see. We're not there yet. But let's look at some of the reviews here. As it goes with the TV show, so it goes with the movie, which benefits from being shot largely in Rome and suffered excuse me, and suffers from trying to stretch its sitcom antics to feature length. So I get what they mean by that, but I actually think they did a decent job of making the movie a full-length feature, sort of adapting the show into a full-length feature. I think they did a good job. It's not awful. I liked it. Yeah, there you go. I agree. The target audience will absolutely adore it. Neil Minogue is right. Director Jim Fowl has orchestrated Lizzie's dream vacation with energy and humor. That's another positive review. Let's read another bad one. No 3 coins in the fountain cliche is left unused in this inane confection that is sugar-coated blandness personified and not remotely funny. I don't know. I laughed a few times in it. It's not the funniest movie I've ever seen or anything, but I don't think it was that bad. Alright. Basically, you get the gist. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. About half and half, little less than half for the critics, and almost exactly half for the audience, but not quite. A little less than half. So, that's the Rotten Tomatoes. Let's look at, we're going to find out the box office information, but first, 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. The actors delivered. I agree with that. The casting was good. Alex Borstein, who voices Lois Griffin on Family Guy, did a great job as Miss Ungermeyer. So let's just talk about the plot real quick. Let's get this out of the way, because there's not much of a plot. Lizzie McGuire has graduated middle school and is going on a trip to Rome, and with some of her class, and Alex Borstein, Miss Ungermeyer, is the overbearing teacher that is overseeing this trip. And Hilary Duff, Lizzie McGuire, she meets a sexy Italian pop star because she just happens to look like this female Italian pop star, and they're a pop duo. And I won't ruin the twist, because there's sort of a twist here, but what we know at this point in the movie is that Paolo is this sexy rich pop star, and that Liz McGuire looks like this other one. So there's the concept of, she's gonna have to change spaces or change places with this Italian pop star. Of course, she plays both roles. They didn't find another person that looks kind of like Lizzie McGuire. They just have Hilary Duff in a brunette wig, speaking in an Italian accent sometimes. And I'll get into that more a little bit, at least with my notes, into some of those scenes. But 5.5 out of 10 for IMDb, which isn't terrible. I think it's like that's fair for this movie for MVP. Obviously, Hilary Duff, Lizzie, Adam Lambert plays Gordo. You feel bad for Gordo, but at the end, it's worth it. But it's like Gordo's so nice. He's like the nicest character in my opinion. And Hilary Duff don't appreciate him, or Lizzie, the character Lizzie. But still, moving on. Alex Borstein, like I said, she voices Lois in Family Guy. Peter! Peter! I can't do it, making me cough. I'm trying to do the Lois voice. Lizzie Montana. I mean, basically, this was sort of like, kind of like that, because she's pretending to be a pop star or whatever. I mean, in Hannah Montana, she is a pop star, but in this one, she's pretending kind of. And we'll get into that a little more. But I think those are the most notable actors that I know of. If there's anyone I'm forgetting, Stevie, feel free. But everyone did a good job. I just don't recognize anybody other than the people that I mentioned. So, let's move down to see what this movie made in the box office. Did it have a box? I thought this got released. Yes, it did. So, $17 million budget, which is pretty low, but for this kind of movie, I guess that seems about right. With a $55 million gross worldwide, so that's not bad. So I'm not sure why they didn't do any of the other movies like this. Like for Even Stevens, they stuck to straight to TV release, but with this one, they did a theatrical release. So. And it made a little bit of money. It didn't do crazy well, but it made a little bit of money. I remember the Olsen Twins movies from around that era. I'd much rather watch Lizzie. Yeah, fair enough. I liked Lizzie McGuire, like the show. When I was a kid, I enjoyed it. And Even Stevens, those were about my era. I remember liking them both. I never got into the Olsen Twins really either. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes. Oh wait, no, I already did. I was going to the next movie, but we're not there yet. We're still Lizzie McGuire. I'll just give you my notepad real quick. It's over here. Also known as the broken iPhone. But yeah, we got some notes here, so let's get into it. I never watched those shows, but Lizzie reminds me of Clarissa Explains It All. I've never seen that show, but I've heard of it. Let's get into it. Lizzie McGuire movie notes. The good opening with the animation and the song. It was a good way to start it. I love that song. Every time you get a feeling, gives you something to believe in. Tide is high and I'm moving on. That's such a good song. And it worked for the opening. And it's kind of part of the opening's dumb because the kid is, or her kid brother has this remote control car videoing Lizzie McGuire while she's dancing. It's like, yeah, this is gonna be good blackmail, but it's like, is it though? Like, she's just dancing and having a good time. It's kind of dumb, but for a Disney movie, I guess that constitutes as blackmail, right? But yeah, I like the animation where they have, because that's from the show, obviously, and they carry that on, where like her conscience has the little animated her telling us what she's thinking, and I like that about the show, and it works for the movie too. Let's see. Teacher and girl are so mean to Lizzie right before the grad. So they sort of have to start the movie off. Well, I don't know if they have to do this, but they did. With embarrassing Lizzie at her grad. So she's all of a sudden basically forced to be the valedictorian, or the class president, whatever it is in this case. The point is she has to make a speech, and the teacher is like, well, you gotta do it. You're no, I forget the character, something Chan, but you're no Madison Chan, or whatever the character's name is. Maybe I had it written in here. No, I don't, but yeah, I forget I'm trying to think of the character's name, but it doesn't matter. I'll just say Madison Chan, even though that's not it. but he's like, you're no Madison Chan. Like, the teacher is talking shit about Lizzie to her face. Be like, you're not as good as this other student. And it's like, really? That's so mean. And then, like, the other one is more, it makes more sense because it's, like, her rival, this other blonde girl that's despite being bitchy to her. That's, like, sort of the point of her character, except for that they sort of become friends in the end, kind of. Which is a classic thing for not only Disney movies, but a lot of movies. But it's obvious that the little brother sent the video of Lizzie to Good Morning America, but nobody catches on. So, yeah, I thought this was obvious, but, you know, I sort of let this one slide. But, yeah, he's filmed Lizzie McGuire at the grad because she, like, falls, and there's a big old catastrophe where she falls into the curtain and fucks up the whole stage and stuff. And so he has it on camera, and they find out it gets sent to Good Morning America, and they're like, who sent it? But it's like, your son was filming it. Like, he obviously fucking did it. Like, I guess there could have been other people with cameras, but, like, still, like, he wouldn't have even, like, tried to see if it was him or something. Like, it's obviously him. He did it. He sent it to Good Morning America. But anyway, moving on. Wouldn't Paolo speak Italian to Lizzie first if he thinks she's this Italian pop star? So Paolo says, I guess that's sort of like just the way this movie works, though. Is like, even though these people would be speaking Italian, they're just doing Italian accents because it's easier for everyone to understand. But it doesn't make sense. They're in Italy, and he thinks that he's talking to an Italian, this Italian girl that he knows. So why would he speak English to her first off? It doesn't make sense. They're all gonna laugh at you. Yeah, exactly. Like that opening with Lizzie McGuire, exactly. That sort of fear of school of being laughed at. That's how it starts off, and I think it's okay to start off like that, but because you feel bad for Lizzie and you want her to have a good time in Rome, you know. That's how I felt. There's no reason she should be worrying about responding in Italian because he's speaking English. Yeah, there was a point where Paolo is speaking English, but in an Italian accent, of course, and then Lizzie says something like, "Oh, I should speak Italian, but I don't know it." It was like, no, he's speaking English. You don't need to worry about Italian. So that was just a little thing that didn't make sense to me. Put a next note here. What do I got? Oh yeah, and this is something that not only should it not have happened, but it doesn't make any sense, and they just don't address it ever again. So Lizzie McGuire, she's pretending to be sick, so she can go out in the daytime while all the other kids are like looking at historical monuments in Rome, and she can go flirt with this cute boy from Italy. So she pretends to be sick, which, you know, that part makes enough sense. But then they assign her homework, and I don't think that's fair. Because if they seem to really believe she's sick, so why would they make her do homework? Also, school is over. This is this summer. It doesn't make any sense. Disney magic, that's right. And also, they don't even, like, acknowledge that she had to do the homework. I don't think she does the homework, and they don't acknowledge it. You never hear about it ever again. They could have just taken that part out, and it would have made more sense for the film, I think. But, you know, sort of a nitpick, but I could have done without that part. Wouldn't people question why Isabella is now speaking in an American accent? So Isabella is the Italian pop star, and Lizzie McGuire is taking her place, and she's meeting all these other Italian people, like fashionistas and designers and makeup people, and they all seem to have known Isabella before, and they just act like this is her, but she's talking in an American accent, and they don't even acknowledge it. They're just like, oh yeah, this is her, even though we meet Isabella later, and she's talking in an Italian accent. But still, I still think they would have been like, what's going on? At least be like, why are you talking like that? And they don't really explain that. Sort of a minor note, but I think it was necessary to point out. Let's see here, what else we got. Oh yeah, the Work It Girl RuPaul song. So this is something, Stevie, that you mentioned earlier on in the stream. I had to make a note of that because I figured that you would want me to talk about it. And obviously I was like, yeah, Work It Girl. And she's like, it's the classic scene. I feel like almost every, at least the girl-centric Disney movies have a scene like this where, they're changing different outfits and there's a fun song in the background and it's like, work it, girl. Work it, girl. And I like that. I like that scene. I'm not going to lie. It was fun. Most of the music is good in this. And this is something I don't have a note of, but I just remember it, so I'm going to say it. The song that's in all the TikTok trends lately, where it's like, hey now, this is what dreams are made of. It's the song that's supposed to be by these Italian pop stars. I think it was made for this movie, I'm pretty sure. And I've been seeing this song on TikTok where people the trend is like it's something that you think is really amazing, like it's like the biggest McDonald's. People are like, this is what dreams are made of, or whatever thing that they like. That's the TikTok trend. But I was like, I saw that before this movie, and I was like, oh, what's that song? I've never heard that song before. And then watching this movie, I was like, this is where that's from. Oh my goodness. They cleaned up the lyrics. Oh, for the RuPaul one, yeah. Oh, I bet they did. And I've seen the original. I just don't remember the dirty stuff, but I believe that. I definitely believe it. You got to clean it up for the Hilary Duff movie, or the Lizzie McGuire movie, but same thing. Why did they check Lizzie for a fever if she didn't have one in the beginning? So she was faking sick. They check her fever at the beginning, which makes enough sense, and they're like, well, she doesn't have a fever, but she must not be faking sick, because why would she fake sick when she can go out and enjoy Italy? So they let it slide, but then they check her fever later, and it's like, oh well, you still don't have a fever. It's like she never had a fever. It's been established. It doesn't make sense. Or maybe they said she was a little warm, but she didn't have a fever before, so why does she have one now? It doesn't make any sense. So again, a nitpick, but it's just these little things that add up that don't make sense to me, that I feel are noteworthy. So Hilary Duff does a good job acting. Yeah, I think there's a reason she was picked for this show. She's got a whole lot of charisma. Does great in the role. She's very likable, and you're rooting for her. You're rooting for Lizzie McGuire in this. Wet your lips and make love a smile for the camera. Oh, that's the lyric that they cleaned up. I see. Lizzie is thrown into singing at a major event, and they didn't know she could sing. So this is another thing that's a little weird. So at the end, they have Lizzie McGuire up on stage singing, and because this is at the International Music Video Awards or something like that, and that's what the movie is sort of built up to at this point. Paolo, this hot Italian singer's trying to get Hilary Duff to sing with him and pretend to be Isabella, because Isabella is apparently not wanting to do it. We find out that that's all bullshit later, but the point is that Hilary Duff is on stage and she's, lip-syncing because it's not established that she can sing well, but then Isabella sort of like, no, you're singing. We're making you actually sing for real, and I would be terrified. Also, they don't know she can sing well. Why would you put pressure on her like that? And yeah, of course, she's Hilary Duff, so she can sing, and it works out. But I would have never thrown anyone in the fire like that. And be like, well, we don't know if you could sing, but we're just gonna put you on stage in front of millions of people, and just see what happens. It's ridiculous. It wouldn't have actually happened in reality, but it's a Disney movie, so I'll sort of let it slide, kind of. But it did bug me. That's why I made a note of it. All right, so that's my last note on the movie. So I think that's it for that one. And overall, I generally, obviously, I am not the demographic for this, but I definitely liked it more than I thought I would. Like I said, I almost said Lizzie Lohan. Lizzie McGuire does a great job in the role, and the plot is serviceable enough. It's not gonna win any writing awards or anything, but it works for a big screen version of the show, and it was made for the fans, and if you were a fan of the show, you probably liked it. And it has a pretty good soundtrack for the most part. And yeah, it's not amazing, but I'd say this is okay. I'm gonna give it a 6. Let's give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 Dougs. The Lizzie McGuire movie, it really could have been a lot worse. I definitely laughed more than I thought I would. And like I said, Hilary Duff does a great job. She's likable. She does a good job in the role. And you can see why she became a star from this. Not only as an actor, but as a pop star. But yeah, 6 out of 10 Dougs for the Lizzie McGuire movie.